Every good story starts with a little bit of a challenge, and our garden story is no different. We had this one spot, a patch of earth that just seemed tired. We'd tried a few things, but the soil felt heavy and lifeless, almost like it had given up on growing anything beautiful. Chip and I would look at it and just know it had more potential. It needed a new beginning, a way to bring back its spirit. We believe that every space, whether inside a home or out in the garden under the big Texas sky, deserves a chance to be its best self. And for this little patch of land, that meant going back to the basics. Before any project can begin, you have to gather your materials. For a renovation, that might mean shiplap and antique doors. For this garden renewal, it meant gathering what some people might just throw away. Our main ingredients were wonderfully simple: compost and grass clippings. We have a compost bin tucked away behind the greenhouse where we toss all our kitchen scraps: coffee grounds, eggshells, and vegetable peels. Over time, it all breaks down into this beautiful, dark, earthy-smelling material. It's rich in all the nutrients that help plants grow strong, and it was going to be the powerhouse of our garden bed. We scooped shovelfuls of this dark, crumbly goodness into the wheelbarrow, and it truly felt like we were digging for treasure. Our second key ingredient was as close as our own lawn. After Chip mowed the yard, we were left with piles of fresh green grass clippings. With all our materials gathered, it was time to lay the very first layer. This step is all about setting the stage for everything that comes after. We started by outlining the area for our new garden bed, a nice rectangular spot that got plenty of sunshine throughout the day. We did not even till or dig up the ground. You can build right on top of the existing soil, or even on top of grass or weeds. We decided to lay down a layer of plain brown cardboard first. We made sure to remove any plastic tape, of course. This cardboard layer acts as a natural weed barrier, smothering whatever is underneath. Once the cardboard was in place, overlapping the edges so no sneaky weeds could find a sliver of light, it was time for our first layer of organic material. We chose to start with a brown layer, which in our case was our beautiful finished compost. Brown materials like compost, dried leaves, wood chips are rich in carbon. We spread a thick, generous layer of the dark compost over the entire cardboard base, about 3 to 4 inches deep. Spreading that compost felt so good. After the compost was perfectly spread out, we gave it its first drink of water. Now for the fun part, what I like to call the dance of layers. Building a lasagna garden is a lot like making a good lasagna. It's all about alternating your ingredients: green materials, brown materials. Our greens were the fresh grass clippings, full of nitrogen. Our browns were the carbon-rich compost. We had already put down our first brown layer. Next up was a green one. We took big armfuls of those bright green grass clippings and spread them evenly on top of the compost. This layer was a little thinner, 2 to 3 inches deep. We kept it light and fluffy, like a delicate ingredient. After the green, it was time for another brown layer. We added another 3 to 4 inch layer on top of the grass. This covered the bright green completely, returning the bed to that rich, dark color. This alternating process is the secret to success, followed by a final, generous top layer of compost. This finishing layer is what you'll be looking at for the next month, and it's also the layer we would plant into. Once our layered bed was built, the next phase began: waiting. Waiting is often the hardest part. You've put in all this work, you have this vision in your mind. Week 1. Keep the pile moist. Every other day I'd water it gently. Texas sun was strong. We didn't want it to dry out. A few days later, we saw the first sign. The pile had started to shrink. Layers compressing, decomposition starting. Stick your hand to the center and you feel warmth. Gentle warmth from breaking down nitrogen-rich grass clippings. Not alarming. The pile is alive. Those subtle changes made waiting active. By day 7, the pile looked more like one mound. The distinct lines between green grass and brown compost were blurring. Around the 2-week mark, something completely unexpected happened. We were out checking on the pile, giving it its regular drink of water, when we noticed tiny green sprouts poking through the top layer of compost. At first I thought they might be weeds, but on closer inspection, they looked familiar. They were little volunteer tomato seedlings. They were little volunteer squash seedlings. The compost we had used was from our own bin, which had included scraps from our summer kitchen. This was such a happy surprise. These little seedlings were a testament to the vitality of the bed we had built. The conditions were so perfect for growth that life was literally bursting forth without any help from us. As we moved into the 3rd week, the physical changes in the pile became even more pronounced. The mound had now shrunk to about half of its original height. It was dense and dark, and when you dug into it a little with a trowel, you could no longer see the distinct layers of grass and compost. Every scoop with the trowel revealed a bustling community of worms, our little partners in this project. And then, it was day 30, the day we had been waiting for. From a distance, the garden bed looked settled and unassuming, a dark patch of earth, where a month ago there had been tired, pale dirt. The little volunteer tomato plants were growing bigger, their leaves a vibrant green against the dark soil. The true reveal, however, happened when we took our garden fork and gently turned over a section of the new bed. What we found underneath was nothing short of unbelievable. The transformation was complete, and it was more dramatic than we had even hoped for. The layers were gone. Completely. There was no trace of the grass clippings, no distinct lines of compost. The cardboard at the bottom had broken down into soft, pulpy pieces that were being incorporated into the soil. In their place was a deep, dark, crumbly loam that was teeming with life. It was light and fluffy, and it held moisture perfectly without being waterlogged. We had essentially created 6 inches of brand new, top-tier topsoil in just 30 days. When you squeezed a handful of it, it held its shape for a moment and then crumbled apart with a gentle touch. We had not just covered up the old, tired soil, we had healed it and transformed it into a living, breathing foundation for a thriving garden. Our little 30-day experiment had been a resounding success, and the proof was right here in our hands. With this incredible new soil, we couldn't wait to plant. The final and most rewarding step of this whole process was to introduce new life to the bed we had so carefully prepared. Since we were heading into the fall season here in Texas, we chose some cool weather favorites: kale seedlings, Swiss chard, lettuces, spinach. We also had a volunteer tomato and squash plants, so we carefully planted around them, letting them be part of the new garden design. The experience of planting in this new soil was a dream. But here, the trowel sank in with almost no effort. The soil was soft and forgiving as we tucked each little seedling into its new home. We gave our newly planted seedlings a good gentle watering, and the soil absorbed it beautifully. Seeing those neat little rows of green in the dark, rich earth was the perfect end to our 30-day journey. In the weeks that followed, the plants took off. Seeing this transformation in our own garden makes me want to encourage every single person to try it. You don't need a huge yard or a lot of fancy equipment. Start by saving your kitchen scraps, your yard trimmings. They are the currency of a healthy garden. Remember the basic recipe: a base layer to block weeds like cardboard, then alternating layers of browns and greens. Aim for roughly 2 parts brown to 1 part green, but don't get too hung up on perfect ratios. The 2 most important ingredients you'll add are water and patience. Keep your pile as moist as a wrung-out sponge. Go out and check on it, notice the changes, and enjoy the process. In a month or 2, you will have created a beautiful foundation for flowers, herbs, and vegetables for your family's table. This project is about connecting with the natural world in a hands-on way, being resourceful, reducing waste, creating beauty. Start small, have fun with it, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.